at average rate of.
Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Coming up in the next hour. India's space agency ISRO is set to execute key maneuver shortly. Aditya L1, first Indian solar mission to be placed in the final orbit. Israel hits Lebanon in response to Hezbollah attack. An Alaskan Airlines plane made an emergency landing after one of its windows opened mid-air. US Safety Board opens probe. Aditya L1, Indian Space Research Organization's maiden solar mission, is set for its final maneuver to reach its destination and will be injected into its final orbit in a short while from now. Aditya L1 spacecraft in its final orbit is located 1.5 million kilometers away from the Earth, and the critical maneuver involves the firing of thrusters in order to change the speed and trajectory of the spacecraft. Former ISRO scientist Guru Prasad explains what exactly Aditya L1 means for India and the scientific community across the world.
Another milestone and another historic day for ISRO as ISRO goes ahead to perform another important maneuver for Aditya to reach its destination, the Lagrangian L1 point. You are projecting through this model. Tell us how this will study the sun now.
I'll tell you. First, let us say it has started from the Earth. Here you can see Earth is here.
Right.
Aditya was launched into an orbit around the Earth which was elliptical, a preliminary Earth orbit. Later, the ellipticity of the orbit, the oval shape of the orbit went on increasing, and at one stage it was made to move away from the gravitational influence of the Earth and travel in deep space.
Right.
Now it has traveled for about 15 lakh kilometers, okay, or 1.5 million kilometers, and it is going to go into roughly like this, a halo orbit around. Let us say it is here at the center of the circle is the L1 Lagrangian point. So from Earth to this orbit, it is about 15 lakh kilometers. That is 1.5 million kilometers. From here to here, it is supposed to be almost 15 crore kilometers again. But it is not shown to scale here. But so this distance from here to here is 1/100th of the distance from here to here almost, let us. But anyway, we want to show that sun is there, quite a distant place. But Aditya will study this sun. Aditya has got 7 payloads. What are payloads? Scientific instruments, that's all. See, Aditya is a national mission. You should understand that. It is not only ISRO. Many other scientific institutions have joined hands with ISRO. ISRO has provided opportunity for that. Now, the very first thing, Aditya L1, as it was conceived for the first time, it was to have a coronagraph. That is, an instrument capable of creating an artificial eclipse of the sun. Why do we want to have an artificial eclipse of the sun to observe the sun? It is because the light from the visible surface of the sun, what we call photosphere, and the inner atmosphere called photosphere, it will overwhelm the light emitted by corona, which is the outer atmosphere of the sun.
Well, certainly it's about history, and we are very close to witness history when it comes to India's space exploration and also India's solar mission. Aditya L1 will be entering its final orbit in a while now, and the entire nation is waiting for this moment. Aditya L1 will be injected into its final orbit in a short while from now. The spacecraft is in its final orbit, is located 1.5 million kilometers away from the Earth. And for more details, we have our correspondent Aisha Khanam joining us. Aisha, now what specific advancements or discoveries is Aditya L1 expected to contribute to solar research, and how does it align with India's space exploration goals?
Well, this is an ambitious mission that India has prepared, and this will be the first observatory to study sun, and this will lead to collection of crucial data, wherein the data like focus on coronal flares, the solar flares, the corona, and the surface of the sun, and the solar ejections, which are still a mystery, and still the scientists would want to study what exactly causes these solar ejections from the sun, and these are quite dangerous sometimes when these solar ejections happen all of a sudden. And now this Aditya L1 mission will study the cause and also the composition of this entire solar flare. And this is important because once the solar flares affect the atmosphere of the Earth, then it could lead to a lot of communication jams. It could lead to the systems disruption, and it could also lead to change in the space weather. And this will ultimately lead to many satellites non-functioning and also power grid disruptions. So once this data is collected, the scientific community can study this and plan ahead so that preventive measures so as to escape from this kind of an emergency system due to solar flares and due to these coronal activities. So Aditya L1 mission is aimed at collecting the crucial data, and this will be utilized by the global scientific community. It is not just a mission where India will benefit, but this is a mission which is aimed at Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which the many scientists feel that once the data is exchanged and shared between the various spacefaring nations, there could be more study on the mysteries of the activity as such.
Indeed, very rightly pointed out, Aisha. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the world is one family. The data which Aditya L1 will find out will be shared with different nations. Now, Aisha, can you elaborate on the scientific instruments on board Aditya L1 and their significance in studying the sun from its designated halo orbit?
Well, Aditya L1 mission is carrying 7 payloads. These 7 payloads are very crucial payloads. And the most important on this is the VELM, which is a visual emission line coronagraph. This is a very important payload which will throw light on, which will provide the images of the sun, wherein the scientists can study the sun as a thin line. This is an important engineering marvel that the scientists explain to us, where they say that the sun's light will be split into 3 different wavelengths, and this wavelength will help them study the mysteries of the sun on its surface. So VELM is one of the very important carrying that sun that Aditya L1 is carrying. And besides this, there are other 7 payloads which will be activated simultaneously, and this will provide enough data for the scientists to study in the coming days. Remember, and also the fact that this VELC will be sending images of sun about 1,440 pictures a day.
All right, Aisha, I'll come back to you. But right now, at this moment, I've been joined by Mr. Ajay Lele, who's space expert from IDSA. Sir, first of all, thank you so much for joining in.
Thank you.
Now, what specific scientific goals and observations is Aditya L1 expected to achieve from its stable vantage point in the halo orbit? And how does it contribute to solar research and understanding?
You see, one must understand that solar research is one of the most important areas where research has started happening in mid-60s onwards. So in a sense that this is a new area of research which is happening. Why there is a need for solar research is essentially because we need to understand many characteristics of the sun. Because sun being the source of energy for the entire Earth system,
Yeah.
we need to know how the behavior of this particular system happens.
Yeah.
This is extremely important from point of view of understanding space weather. Because historically it has been seen that space weather has certain amount of impacts on your electronic systems. So your satellites may go unserviceable, particularly in early 80s period. Even during last century, there have been instances where your telegraphic services also had gone unserviceable. In fact, very recently, that is just 2 days back on 4th, there was a certain amount of disturbances which happened into the solar field, and communication systems in Australia had faced problems. So it is an ongoing problem. People have been working on it, but you require more amount of a data availability to undertake what we call space weather forecasting. We have some systems over there at Lagrangian point. Right now, you've got the European Space Agency and a NASA collaborated system called SOHO, which is operational there since 1996. India's system will add more to it because that system had gone there way back in 1996. Today, there is a lot amount of improvement in sensor technologies which has happened. So definitely India's system will have an advantage over the SOHO system. But at the end of the day, the data which is picked up from both these systems will help various space weather forecasters all over the world to understand what are the changes which are happening into the space weather and give certain amount of indications. In fact, just few years back, Elon Musk's SpaceX has launched satellites out into the space. It was a bunch of around 48 to 49 satellites. And within a day, 40 satellites had gone unserviceable, essentially because of the solar flares only. So the issue is there. More amount of activity now is going to happen into the space. That's what we have witnessed during last couple of years, particularly owing to space-based internet. You are having many satellites which are getting launched into the low Earth orbit. So under these circumstances, the chances of these storms affecting the satellite systems are definitely going to be more, because probability exists more since more number of space systems are available. So India's system will play an important role to collect the data and to forecast the solar weather.
Definitely, sir. Now, in layman language, can you explain that, what would be the key findings from this Aditya L1 and how it will help in the field of science and technology in a very simple explanation for the viewers who are watching us right now?
Simplistic language, one can say that there are three types of things which happen onto the on sun. There is a sunspot cycle which continues to change its characteristics after every 11 years. Then there are solar winds which happen in the vicinity of a sun. Then there are solar flares, and there's something which is known as a coronal mass ejections, what is known as a CMEs. So all this energy which is coming out of the sun try to move towards the Earth's surface, and particularly in the ionosphere of the Earth, which is very crucial for keeping communication systems functional. There is an effect of these systems, or one can say the particles which are coming from coronal mass ejections or because of solar flares, and they impact the electronics part of it. The moment the electronics part of any satellite or any Earth-based system is impacted, the system becomes unserviceable. So as far as common people are concerned, it needs to be understood that when your satellites become unserviceable, number one, you lose a satellite, and there is tremendous amount of financial investment which has been made into keeping those satellite systems, and there is a lot which depends on the surface of the Earth from satellite systems also.
Okay.
Imagine your GPS satellite system goes unserviceable, we will face tremendous amount of problems.
Yeah.
So these are the basic challenges which emerge, and that's why we are trying to study more about the sun.
Okay. Sir, I have a question. Could you please clear the doubt? Because people out there, they have this small doubt that whether Aditya L1 will be landing on the sun. I mean,
No. Definitely. Sun is quite far off. Technically speaking, what we are reaching is to the distance of 15 lakh kilometers above the Earth's surface. It is only 1% of the, if I consider the distance between Earth and Sun, what we are reaching is only 1% of that. 99% we are still away from the Sun. You see, if you see the Sun structure, the type of temperatures which are there, the innermost structure of a Sun has got a temperatures around 4,000 degrees Celsius. Subsequently, it becomes around 6 to 7,000 degrees Celsius. And the corona, which is the outermost layer of a sun, has got temperatures which could be in lakhs of degrees Celsius.
Okay.
So it is just not possible to go even closer to the sun. We are so much away from the sun.
Yeah.
So it is just out of question that somebody can even think of going and landing to the sun.
Thank you so much for clearing this doubt, sir. Now, how does this mission align with India's broader objectives in space exploration and solar research, particularly with the utilization of PSLV C-57 for Aditya's L1 launch?
You see, India has got one of the best launcher systems called PSLV. On 1st of this month only, we have launched X-ray polarimetric satellite with the mission C-58. So out of all the missions which have happened, only 2 missions of PSLV have failed. So PSLV is very commonly known as a most trusted workhorse of ISRO. So it was very common that a PSLV mission will become successful. On 2nd of September, this particular mission was launched by PSLV. It has taken so much amount of a time because we are covering the distance of 15 lakh kilometers. So definitely it's a time-consuming thing. So subsequently what had happened is that between 2nd September till 19th of September, what we call Earth orbit raising maneuvers were conducted. So that means the altitude of a satellite in a very systematic fashion was raised to a particular thing, and then the trans-orbit insertion happened towards the Lagrangian orbit. And now today we are approaching closer towards L1, what is a Lagrangian point, and we will be doing a orbital insertion over there. And after that, the satellite will get stabilized out over there.
Definitely.
The beauty of a Lagrangian point L1 is that there the Earth and Sun's magnetic field cancel out each other.
Yeah.
So basically what you're having is a place of some sort of a zone of equilibrium, and very less amount of a fuel is required for satellite to remain active over there. That's why we are pushing the satellite over there.
Okay. Sir, very quickly, my last question to you. India strongly believes in Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the world is one family, and the key findings which will be unearthed will be shared with various countries. Now, how will this information be helpful for these nations and will help in the field of science and technology on a global platform?
You see, over a period of time, India is been making investments into satellites which could be considered as a scientific satellites. In the year 2015, we had launched a satellite called AstroSat. Again, a very good system which is giving good amount of information, and a lot of information is being shared globally, and there are a lot of universities, there are a lot of PhD students who are working on that data and coming out with certain amount of conclusions. So I think this is India's effort for many years, rather I can say for many decades since inception of India's space program. India has shared good amount of scientific data which has been made available. So even today when we are talking of this particular type of a satellite Aditya L1, the data will be shared with the agencies, because it's not only India. You got agencies in UK, you got agencies in Canada, you got agencies in Australia. They all are looking for this type of a data. Because
Definitely.
all these countries have got agencies which are involving themselves into space weather forecasting, and that's going to help them in future.
Definitely. Thank you so much for the information, sir, and thank you so much for joining in as well. The Israeli Defense Forces hit Lebanon on Saturday, shortly after a series of rocket launches from Lebanon into northern Israel. Lebanese armed group Hezbollah said that it hit a key Israeli observation post early on Saturday with 62 rockets as a preliminary response to the killing of Hamas's deputy chief earlier this week. Israel continues its operation against Hamas. On Saturday, Israeli Defense Forces operated at a Hamas terrorist quarters under a hotel near the beach in northern Gaza. Israeli Defense Forces said terrorists exploited the hotel using the place to plan and execute attacks. Multiple weapons, explosives and drones were found under the hotel. Iranian security forces have arrested 11 suspects in connection with the twin bomb blasts in Kerman on Wednesday. According to Iran's intelligence ministry, security forces arrested 2 people in connection with the suicide bombing in Kerman, as well as 9 others in different parts of Iran suspected of being involved in the incident. Earlier, the Islamic State K group claimed responsibility for the attacks, which killed nearly 100 people and several others injured. The attack came as thousands of people gathered for a procession marking the anniversary of General Qasem Soleimani's assassination. Taking you to Japan now. After a deadly 7.6 magnitude earthquake hit the peninsula, the Noto region of Japan's Ishikawa prefecture is suffering severe water and food shortages. However, in Wajima city, Japanese residents were elated after a local supermarket opened its doors for people to get their supplies. All right, we're getting this news from you. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has just tweeted, and I read, India creates yet another landmark. India's first solar observatory, Aditya L1, reaches its destination. This is what Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has just tweeted. The tweet further said, it's a testament to the relentless dedication of our scientists in realizing among the most complex and intricate space missions. I join the nation in applauding this extraordinary feat. We will continue to pursue new frontiers of science for the benefit of humanity. This is what Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has just tweeted. As history has been created, Aditya L1 has entered in its final orbit. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi has just tweeted and congratulated ISRO and the entire nation. Here's the tweet. It's a testament to the relentless dedication of our scientists in realizing among the most complex and intricate space missions. This is what Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has just tweeted. History has been created. Aditya L1 has now entered into its final orbit. A lot of findings will be unearthed, which will help scientists on a global platform in the field of science and technology. Well, DD India correspondent Aisha Khanam joins us. Aisha, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has just tweeted and congratulated the entire nation. History has been created. Aditya L1 has entered in its final orbit. What do you have for us?
Yes, absolutely. This is the historic moment for India and also for ISRO. And ISRO has achieved yet another milestone and added a feather in its cap.
Yeah.
And Prime Minister Narendra Modi always has led the nation in all the space missions, and he has rightfully congratulated the people and the scientific community for this success. And now this Aditya L1 is inserted in the orbit, so there will be the majority of the instruments that are on board. The payloads will be activated soon, and ISRO and Aditya L1 will begin its mission. Remember, its lifespan is for 5 years. And throughout these 5 years, it will send voluminous data, wherein scientists will this data and they will utilize this data for the benefit of the mankind.
Definitely, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has just tweeted. It's a testament to definitely India's space exploration, and also not just space exploration, it's solar exploration as well. Now, Aisha, where are you right now? And you have any words with any of the scientists who are there?
Well, I'm near the ice track wherein the scientists are still busy in the mission, and they have just given the command, and they have completed the mission, inserted the Aditya L1 in its intended Lagrangian point. And the scientists are now calculating the parameters and the specific data. So now the scientists will look at gathering the data at Bangalore, Bailalu, the Indian the Indian Deep Space Network, which is in Bangalore. So the data will be collected here, and then it will be analyzed here. And Indian Institute of Astrophysics will also step in to analyze data, because sun is an astrophysics activity. So now the Indian Institute of Astrophysics will step in because a lot of payloads that have gone in along with Aditya are supported by the Indian Institute of Astrophysics, and especially the payload like VELC is made by the Indian Institute of Astrophysics. So this data will be downloaded now, and the scientists will have enormous task on hand to analyze and decipher this data. And also the fact that at Indian Institute of Astrophysics, there are over hundreds of students who are working on Sun PhD. So for these students, this will be data on hand where each student will calculate the important specific data that will be available to them. So at the moment, scientists at ISTRAC in Bangalore, ISTRAC is the same same center where the ISRO scientists had wonderfully done the Chandrayaan-3 landing on the moon. And this is from the same center that the scientists just gave a command to Aditya L1. The final maneuver was done from this ISTRAC center, and the scientists are jubilant. And the project director, Nigar Shaji, remember this project is led by a woman. So this is another example of how India is, leading in women-led development in space as well. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has always encouraged women, and also he has always stood by the scientific community. So the ISRO chairman, Dr. Somnath, is present at ISTRAC, and the project director, Nigar Shaji, is at the command center, and all the scientists are celebrating this grand success right now.
A moment of joy for the entire nation, not just for the nation, for the entire world, as India strongly believes, Aisha, in Vasudev Kutumbakam, the world is one family. The key findings from the sun will be shared. The details of these, the information will be shared with various nations. Can you tell us how will it help the entire science and technology community on a global scale?
This data will be exchanged, with various space agencies like NASA and the European Space Agency, and they will also work on analyzing this entire data available to them. Earlier, also there have been several missions to the sun, but right now Aditya L1 mission has the most advanced equipment that it is carrying right now, and those advanced payloads, which are the 7 payloads which are on Aditya L1, will bring in new data, and the scientists across the globe will be able to exchange this data. And as I said,
all right,
this is
Aisha.
an important mission.
All right, Aisha. I've just got a tweet from ISRO, Aditya L1, and it read. I just reading out the tweet right now. It says, "Greetings from Aditya L1. I have safely arrived at Lagrange Point L1, 1.5 million kilometers from my home planet. Excited to be far away, yet intimately connected to the unravel the solar mysteries." And this is the tweet by ISRO. All right, we've been joined by another expert, Mr. Jagdev Singh. He's a professor and he's right now in Bengaluru. Sir, very warm welcome to the show. What specific scientific goals and observations Aditya L1 is expected to give right now? Now that Aditya L1, has parked itself in the final orbit, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has also tweeted it's a moment of joy for the entire country, not just for the country, for the entire world.
Yeah. Should I start?
Definitely, sir. Please go on.
Yeah. The thing is, we are very happy that it has been successfully launched and placed in the L1 orbit, halo orbit.
Yeah.
And now, so far, the distance between the sun and the satellite and the equipment was varying with time. But now the distance between the sun and the satellite will be constant, and the variations will be very less. Those will be seasonal variation in the distance. So image will be stationary. So we have already tested the equipment when it was in the cruise phase, and that all the payloads are working well. Even the VELC, visible emission and chronograph, is working well. And it has given encouraging results to us. The payload was very complex, and this has been done for the first time by the Indian scientists. And even such a complication instrument has not been made by other people over the world. So, for the first time, launching such a complex instrument and then working it successfully is a great achievement. It is technological achievement. It is with this technology development, even the industry has gained a lot. There was participation from the industry. When the industry participates, the economy also grows. So it has a multiple benefits for the country, and not only the scientifically. Now, once data starts coming to us, we will be analyzing the data to understand how the plasma in the solar corona, which is at million degrees, gets heated up. And there's a lot of energetic events like CME, coronal mass injection, which affects the space weather as well as the Earth's weather, or some of the electrical grids, or the communication setup, or the flights going from here to there. They get affected when that charged particle reaches the Earth.
Definitely.
So by monitoring those CMEs, we will be able to predict that when those kind of events are going to happen, and then we can take the precautionary measurements and predict the possibility loss of communication systems and other things. Nowadays, it depends on the satellite. If satellite gets damaged, communication gets damaged, gets affected. So that way, it will benefit the general public as well about the communication and the saving of the electrical grid or the electrical appliances and so on.
Definitely. It's a moment of joy for the entire country. Sir, Aditya L1 enters its final orbit, and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has also tweeted. I would like to read his tweet. India creates yet another landmark. India's first solar observatory, Aditya L1, reaches its destination. It's a testament to the relentless dedication of our scientists in realizing among the most complex and intricate space missions. I join the nation in applauding this extraordinary feat. We will continue to pursue new frontiers of science for the benefit of humanity. This is what Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has tweeted. All right, Mr. Jagdev, what specific sensors or instruments on Aditya L1 are critical? This is an important question. If you could just elaborate it a bit.
You see, these sensors are the CMOS detectors, which is based on the conversion of photons to the electrons directly. You see, now you are using a lot of video for making the videos, you are using your cameras and other things, etc. But those instruments that you are using are for the commercial use. They are not as delicate as the instrument which we are using. We are using CCTV camera and the CMOS detectors. They were highly complex. So we need to minutely see the changes, what is happening on the sun, with the photometric accuracy of 0.001%. And the commercial camera does not have that kind of accuracy. So those sensitive equipment has been developed by SAC and our Space Application Center at Ahmedabad and ISO organization. So, of course, we have planned it. We gave them the specifications, then they developed those cameras. They have to stay qualified. Since in the space, charged particles, high energy particles hit the cameras, and then cameras can damage. So we have taken the proper precautions so that nothing happens to the chip what we are using the cameras. So that way those are very sensitive cameras and very accurately measuring how much radiations from the sun are coming at a time and how much percentage they change with time with the different frequencies, with few seconds, few months, few minutes, and over the years, how those changes are happening on the sun. So we will be
All right.
Analyzing those things.
All right. Thank you so much, sir, for joining in. Now we have Ajay Lele. He's a space expert joining us for more. Sir, from moonwalk to Sundance, what an exceptional year this has been for Bharat.
Definitely, because if you see the entire trajectory of ISRO space program, for a couple of years, ISRO has started investing into missions which could be considered as a scientific missions. Way back in 2008, we did the first mission to moon, that is Chandrayaan-1. Again, it is a scientific mission. Then we had done certain amount of other scientific missions too. 2013, 2014, we did the India's mission to Mars. Again, a very beautiful mission. It has given good amount of data. The mission was expected to last for 6 months, but it lasted almost for 5 years. So that is the beauty of Indian missions, particularly the missions which have been associated for doing science. And I think particularly in this year, after the failure of Chandrayaan-2, we have achieved a very great success of having our rover and a lander system working on the moon surface for a stipulated period of 14 days, collecting a lot amount of information, important observations for further missions. So similarly, now we are looking at the sun also. Again, looking at the sun is entirely a different domain than what we were looking at a moon. On moon, we are landing on the moon surface, lunar surface, picking up observations, have plans of Chandrayaan-4 and other missions. As far as sun is concerned, we are trying to just understand the complex nature of the environment over the sun and what impact it will have on the instruments on the surface of the Earth, particularly from the point of view of space weather and how harms it can cause to our satellite systems as well as systems which are there on the surface of the Earth, particularly the ground equipment which is controlling the satellite systems also.
Okay,
so for India, it's a very great achievement.
Definitely. Sir, and MOS Science and Technology, Dr. Jitendra Singh, he has tweeted from moonwalk to Sundance. What a glorious turn of year for Bharat. The tweet further says, under the visionary leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, yet another success story scripted by Team ISRO. Hashtag Aditya L1 reaches its final orbit to discover the mysteries of Sun-Earth connection. This is what Dr. Jitendra Singh has just tweeted. He's MOS Science and Technology. Well, let's go back to Ajay Lele. He's a space expert. Sir, are there any future plans or phases in Aditya L1 mission, after the successful execution of its key maneuver?
I think this is just a beginning as far as India's journey towards understanding the sun is concerned. The lifetime of this satellite is expected to be 5 years.
Okay.
ISRO will have a certain amount of details after some time, because what happens is that as you do a correct orbital maneuver, there could be certain amount of fuel saving also. So the more the fuel you save, the more the lifetime of a satellite increases. At least as far as planning is concerned, the satellite is expected to last for 5 years. So in these 5 years, we will collect good amount of data. At the same time, various other Indian agencies, also India startups also, are working on various sensor systems also. So I think in coming 2 to 3 years, we will get a decent idea that what we are actually getting from this Aditya L1 mission and what more improvements could be done. I think after this mission gets over, maybe after 5 years or 10 years, ISRO could think of a second mission also, because there is no charm in having only one mission and having limited data for 5 years. You will require a continuous data availability, and I think that will be the ISRO's plan. But only ISRO can tell what is there as far as they are concerned to look at the sun from other missions' point of view.
Definitely. But do you think, sir, that India or the entire world will be needing a second mission, or India will be needing a second mission to get more findings from what's there in the sun?
No, definitely. You see, it's not a question of findings only.
Okay.
If you see this particular mission, you have got 7 sensors. There are 4 sensors which are directly picking up observations. There are 3 sensors which are doing in situ experiments. Now, what happens is that when you're talking of a space weather, it is a continuous set of data which you need to get it to understand and prognosticate what is going to happen into the space. Because our systems, basically the satellite systems, will have certain amount of an impact of the space weather. You see, what happens is that the solar storms and other things, they are very low sort of a occurrence sort of a storms. But at the end of the day, the impact is very high. You invest lots of dollars, lots of rupees into development of the satellites. So you don't want to lose a satellite just like that. What happens is that if you can get a correct space weather forecast, you can switch off the electronics of the satellite systems for a particular period of time. And after the storm gets over, you can again switch on the systems. So under these circumstances, there could be certain amount of savings which could be achieved. So it has to be a continuous process, endless process, because it's something like we observe the weather on the surface of the earth. You require a continuous set of observations, continuous set of data to upgrade your forecast day in and day out. Same is going to be the case with space, because there is a lot amount of increased activity which is happening into the domain of a space, and it's going to increase multifold in coming years.
Definitely, sir. Can you also tell us that, the key findings which will be unearthed from Aditya L1, how will it be useful for the scientists and for the entire science and technology community, not just for the country, not just for India, for the entire universe?
You see, as far as space physics is concerned, it continues to remain an evolving field. If you really look at the journey of humans out into the space, it all started with 1957, the launch of the satellite called Sputnik by the erstwhile USSR. So in that context, one can say that space is a new science, particularly from understanding of a technology point of view. Because tomorrow we are going to have certain amount of ambitions of reaching to other planets also. What happens is that today we are trying to understand what is the impact of a sun on, say, surface of the earth or in the earth's atmosphere. Tomorrow, when you will have missions where humans will start staying on Moon and Mars, the distance between, say, Mars and a sun, distance between Neptune and a sun, distance between other planets of the sun is not going to be the same. So today you're looking at a sun from Earth's perspective. In days to come, in years to come, you will have to look at a sun from the perspective of a planet where you are going to have your own settlements also. So in that context, one can say that it's going to be a very continuously going process, because you need to understand the sun not only from a point of view of Earth, because now we've got ambitions of reaching to the other planets and having human civilization over there. So again, you will have to look at the sun from the context of that particular planet.
Okay, and sir, when you say settlement on the sun, what do you mean?
Settlement on other planets.
Okay.
There are plans where people want to have human settlement on the moon surface. There could be even settlements on the Martian surface, that is the Mars surface also.
Okay, okay.
That's what I'm trying to say over here.
Okay.
As far as sun is concerned, you just can't reach the sun because of the temperature.
Correct, correct.
Humans wants to have human settlements on other planets. May not happen today, may not happen next decade, maybe after a couple of decades, but you require a continuous amount of data to be available to understand the things.
Definitely, definitely. Sir, you are a space expert. I would like to ask you one question. That sun being the most powerful source of energy, how do you think its energy could be utilized in experiments, in creating something new in future in the field of science and technology?
You see, as far as sun is concerned, it is a tremendous source of energy.
Yeah.
We have already made a lot amount of experiments. When I'm using the word we all over the world,
yeah,
about tapping the solar energy.
Yeah.
So solar energy has become a boon for the humanity. Today we are talking in the era of a climate change, where we require a very clean energy. So definitely solar energy is one aspect of it. But the other most important aspect of it, where scientific work is on, is something which is known as a space-based solar power. What happens is that, suppose I'm taking case of a country, the sun will be available only for half a day. Rest of the day there will be night. So as far as capping of a solar energy is concerned, you can only do it for half a day. But if you have your satellites out into the space where continuous availability of a sun is there, and if you can transmit that energy back to the earth, then it's going to be a major boon. So today when we are talking of reducing your dependence on coal, reducing even your dependence on nuclear energy, which few are of opinion, particularly what happened in Fukushima and all that, there could be certain amount of hazards owing to those things. So you require another sources of energy. And beyond solar energy, if you can have something which is known as a space-based solar energy, it's going to be a boon. So we are looking at the sun from very different perspectives. One is to understand the sun by launching satellites like this, and other is trying to cap the maximum energy which is emerged out of the sun.
All right. Thank you so much for all those updates, and thank you so much for joining in. Well, the U.S. National Transportation Safety Board launched an investigation into the depressurization incident that forced an Alaska Airlines plane to make an emergency landing. Alaska Airlines flight 1282, which was bound for Ontario, California, suffered depressurization soon after departure and landed safely back at Portland. The plane took off with 171 passengers and 6 crew members, and in about 20 minutes, the plane landed. In a statement on X, the airline said, "We are investigating what happened and will share more information as it becomes available." All right, and still to come on DD India News Hour. Bangladesh is all set for its 12th parliamentary elections. First passenger flight from India's Delhi to Ayodhya flew today with 180 passengers.
Wherever news breaks, whatever it takes.
Connecting corners, cutting across continents.
Stories that matter from across the globe.
Accurate, authentic journalism that serves you right. From politics to glamour, from sports to world affairs, with a fusion of aesthetics and substance. Introducing news in a new avatar. Experience the world through a new lens. Stay tuned to DD India for an exciting journey beyond borders.
Well, you're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Bangladesh is all set for its 12th parliamentary election that is scheduled to place on Sunday. The fate of 1,970 candidates will be decided by 180 million Bangladeshis on 7th of January. The ruling party, Awami League, will look forward for re-election, making it their 4th term. Meanwhile, the Bangladesh Nationalist Party, a major opposition party, called a countrywide strike from Saturday morning to Monday morning as part of their movement to boycott the national elections, alleging that free and fair election is not possible under the current government. Whereas the Dhaka Metropolitan Police has also banned movement of taxi cabs, pickups, microbuses, trucks, etc. from Saturday midnight to Sunday midnight. Armed forces will also be deployed across Bangladesh till January 10 to ensure peace and order before, during and after the election day. Ahead of the 12th parliamentary elections to be held in the country tomorrow, Bangladesh Chief Election Commissioner Qazi Habibul Awal said that election is going to be held tomorrow and we want our election to be observed not only nationally as well as internationally.
We believe in credible election, in participation, and in the fairness, in the fairness and acceptability of results of election. As a result of that, we want that our election be observed not only nationally, as well as internationally.
Already, Bangladesh is all set for polls, and country will observe its 12th parliamentary elections on Sunday. The BNP has called for a countrywide strike and said that fair and free elections are not possible under the current government. This is the current scenario which is happening in Bangladesh right now. Fate of 1,970 candidates will be decided by 180 million Bangladeshis on 7th of January, that is tomorrow, Sunday. The ruling party, Awami League, will look forward for re-election, making it their 4th term. And meanwhile, the Bangladesh Nationalist Party, or BNP as we call it, a major opposition party it is, called a countrywide strike from Saturday morning to Monday morning as part of their movement to boycott the national elections, alleging that free and fair election is not possible under the current government. Amid polls, Bangladesh's Foreign Secretary Masood bin Momin highlighted India and Bangladesh's strong relationship as both the countries lay foundation of new projects recently.
One thing I would like to see is more progress in connectivity and also, projects, joint projects with mutual economic benefits. And already some of the foundations have been laid. Therefore, I think with good results in the elections, upcoming elections, both in Bangladesh and subsequently in India, these various connectivity-related projects will further be strengthened, and therefore the economic relationship between the two countries, which has also flourished in recent times in terms of higher volumes of trade from both sides.
All right, and let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. Bolivia announces the biggest ever cocaine burst. The authorities have seized nearly 9 tons of cocaine in wooden boards in the Oruro region in the west of the country. It is estimated that the value of drug is about $224 million and its destination was the Netherlands. Officials say that 4 suspected drug traffickers were also arrested during the raid. Further investigation is underway. Bolivian police boost fitness with mandatory exercise. According to government's recent orders, for Bolivian police officers, it is now mandatory to exercise to improve their physical fitness. Bolivia's Minister of Government ordered police officers to work out from Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. The order comes as the country heads towards the 200th anniversary of its founding in 2025. Heavy rains have triggered flash floods in various parts of Britain as major rivers across the country have burst their banks. Solent River has flooded roads and low-lying land in Cambridgeshire, eastern England on Friday. The UK government's Environment Agency issued at least 17 flood warnings for Cambridgeshire and 32 flood alerts in the wider area. The 40th Harbin International Ice and Snow Sculpture Festival officially opened in China with a spectacular fireworks display and over 100 different ice and snow leisure activities. The festival's opening marked the beginning of Ice City's winter tourism golden period, with the event set to run for around 2 months until early March. Well, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is on a 3-day visit to Jaipur, the capital state of Rajasthan, to participate in the National Conference of Director General and Inspector General of Police. The 3-day event was inaugurated on 5th of January by the Indian Home Minister Amit Shah. The conference deliberates on the challenges of safety and security. Our correspondent Vishal Baristo sends us this report.
Today is the second day of the DG and IGP's conference here in Jaipur. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is participating in this conference. There are 4 important issues that are being discussed today, starting off with the Khalistan terrorism issue. The National Security Advisor Ajit Doval would be presenting a paper on this. It would be followed by the issue on cybersecurity, the 3 new criminal laws, and also the issue of human trafficking. The Minister of State for Home, Nityanand Rai, is expected to give his presentation on the issue and how it could be curbed. With cameraman Sanjay Jaina in Jaipur, this is Vishal Baristo for DD India.
All right, and Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar today attended the inauguration of 500th Centre of Ek Se Shresht, along with an interactive session with children at Hamirpur in Himachal Pradesh. The Vice President planted a sapling on the occasion. Union Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Singh Thakur was also present. Speaking on the occasion, Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar said that today India is 5th superpower nation, and within few years we will leave behind Japan and Germany too.
आज भारत की यात्रा बहुत ऊपर चली गई है। आज वो भारत नहीं है जो दुर्बल था। आज हम दुनिया की महाशक्ति हैं। हमने इंग्लैंड को पीछे छोड़ा है, कनाडा को पीछे छोड़ा है, फ्रांस को छोड़ा है और हम 5वीं महाशक्ति बन गए हैं। ये आपकी बदौलत है, आपके प्रयास की वजह से है। और कुछ ही साल बाकी हैं। 5-6 साल में हम जापान और जर्मनी को भी पीछे छोड़ देंगे।
Earlier in the program, India's Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Singh Thakur also addressed the attendees.
टीचर एक जीवन धर्म है और इस जीवन धर्म को निभाने वाली मेरे ऐसे 500 टीचर्स में से 95% से ज्यादा महिलाएं हैं। यानी कि मेरी बहनें आज टीचर के रूप में काम कर रही 95%, और इन 9000 बच्चों में भी 48% से ज्यादा बेटियां हैं और 51 पॉइंट कुछ % बेटे हैं। सर, ये जितने कार्यक्रम चलते हैं, चाहे अस्पताल हो, सांसद मोबाइल स्वास्थ्य सेवा, इसमें 85% जिनको नौकरी मिली है, डॉक्टर, लैब टेक्नीशियन या बाकी, ये महिलाएं हैं। और हमारा जो एक से श्रेष्ठ कार्यक्रम है, इसमें 90% टीचर महिलाएं हैं। ऐसे जो आपको जीवन के लिए अलग अलग कार्यक्रमों में सिखाया जाता है, वो महिलाएं हैं। हमारे सांसद खेल महाकुंभ में भी महिलाएं बढ़ चढ़कर आगे भाग ले रही हैं।
First passenger flight from India's Delhi to Ayodhya flew today with 180 passengers. Devotees from many states of India were excited to travel via this historical flight. Passengers were seen sloganeering Jai Shri Ram chants on landing of aircraft at Ayodhya. As part of the ongoing Vixit Bharat Sankalp Yatra, an awareness program was organized at Maitra, Ramban, Jammu and Kashmir. Local residents watched the awareness program on various government welfare schemes, besides motivational speech by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the LCD screen. Several stalls were put up by various departments. The Vixit Bharat Sankalp Yatra IEC van traversed across Barachar and Lohil Bela panchayats of Poonch district. At both the panchayats, people accorded rousing welcome to the yatra and IEC van. Videos of beneficiaries of different schemes under Meri Kahani, Meri Zubani were also played besides the PM's message for the public. The Vixit Bharat Sankalp Yatra is reaching different parts of the country. The yatra has reached Riva Panchayat of Chhattisgarh. In India's booming startup ecosystem, women have come at the forefront of entrepreneurship. As per a recently published report titled Women in India's Startup Ecosystem Report, women-led startups have risen to 18% in the past 5 years. In 2022, the startup landscape has surged to 80,000 from 6,000, with women-led startups now comprising of 18% of the total than just 10% in 2017. As per the report, 105 startups became unicorns in 2022 from 13 in 2017, out of which women-driven startup unicorns increased from 8% to 17%. The report also highlights the increased presence of women in leadership roles. In startups, 32% of managerial positions are held by women, while in corporations, it's 21%. Well, the civil aviation industry in India has emerged as one of the fastest growing industries in the country during the last few years. Over the past year, India now has 149 operational civil airports. Number of domestic passengers rose from 98 million in 2012-13 to 202 million in 2019-20. On November 19 this year, airlines in India flew many passengers. This was highest single-day air traffic since the pandemic, marking a remarkable 7.4% surge. As per the International Air Transport Association, India is projected to be the third largest overall by 2026. All right, that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. From all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.